Hello friends, today's topic of discussion is software lifecycle models and software bugs. Objectives of today's lecture are to understand software development lifecycle models and to gain knowledge of software bugs. Software development lifecycle models. Software development lifecycle models, that is SDLC, is a well-defined structured sequence of stages in software engineering to develop the intended software product. A view of software development paradigms or software process models we are going to see. The software development paradigms helps developer to select a strategy to develop the software, and they has it has its own set of tools, methods and procedures which are expressed clearly and define software development life cycles. There are three process models. First, that is waterfall model. Second is a prototyping model. And third is a spiral model. We'll see one by one. The first one, that is waterfall model. In this, there are a number of stages. We can see the first one, that is requirement, then design. The next stage is implementation. Next stage is verification. And the last stage is maintenance. The software development was once viewed as a sequential. The results of one activity followed into the next. While the software rarely, if ever, develops according to the waterfall model, the model will acquaint you with the necessary components of the development cycle. First, you bound the software problem and project during the concept and analysis stages. Concept and analysis stages are basically they will result in the requirement. The requirement tells what the software does, while the next stage, that is design, it tells how the software does it. And the next stage, that is implementation, that is nothing but programming, is the coding stage in which you actually implement the software program. Testing and verification, it ensures that the program performs according to the requirements. Once you have written and released the software, it enters the next stage, that is maintenance stage. In this stage, you update, correct and modify it for further application. So here we can see in the first stage, that is in the requirement, basically we will be having a concept and analysis of the same that will be converted into requirement document. Then we need to prepare use cases. Then the next stage comes once we complete with the requirement stage, that is design. In this, software architecture and map the stakeholders will be involved. After that, implementation stage, where the construction of the software and data storage and retrieval will be done. Then the next stage is verification. Here, testing and debugging will be done. And the last, that is maintenance, in which the errors will be checked and we can modify and correct the future softwares. Here, the requirement actually it will follow both the concept and analysis, the first stage, and reduce the abstract intentions of the customer into realizable constraint. The requirements, it tells what the software does. They include the standards that the software must adhere to, the development process, the constraints and reliability or fault tolerance. Standards can drive the amount of effort expended in developing. If you decide to follow standards that are inappropriate or tighter than necessary, you will waste time and effort. Pick carefully those that apply and understand all that they demand of you. Requirements for development process may call for several successive specifications like general specification, functional, performance specification, requirement specification and design specification. Within these requirements, you need to consider the system constraints such as memory and timing margin, hardware, communication and input outputs, execution speed, The requirement may also specify desired reliability, fault tolerance, and failure modes. Then the next stage, that is design. The design outlines the path through the system constraints laid down by the requirements. The design tells how the software does it. The design defines the preliminary version of the software operation and its procedures, the communications, the development tool, how the software will optimize the performance, and how it will manage the memory. The design specifies how the software will fulfill the requirement. Here, we need to consider some software elements in preparing the design, which involves system preparation and setup, operating system and procedures, communication and input-output, monitoring procedures, fault recovery and spatial procedures, and diagnostic features. The design can specify algorithms and techniques that optimize the performance. The design can also specify the management of memory within an electronic instrument. The design may reuse modules and libraries in an effort to improve productivity and reliability. But even this course of action requires careful management of the modules. Then next comes the implementation, which involves programming and testing. After all the analysis, requirement specification and design plans, you can get down to actually writing code. Here there are two methods of programming, one in assembly language and the other is in high level language. Here a similar text assembly language mnemonics prepared in a text file and generates an object file, an intermediate step in preparing the final code. In the next stage, that is verification, testing can and should take various forms to increase the chance of catching bugs and verifying correctness. Testing includes internal reviews, black box testing, white box testing, and alpha and beta testing. The first, that is internal reviews by colleagues, examine the correctness of your program or your software and can find out the mistakes and errors in the logic. The second one, that is black box testing. It uses typically scenarios to ensure that input and output interfaces are functioning correctly. It ensures the integrity of the information flow into and out of the module without concern for what happens within the software. Most testing is black box testing. The third one, that is white box testing. It exercises all logical decisions and functional paths within a software module. It requires an intimate knowledge of the module software so that you can design the test to reach all operations and functions. White box testing is far more likely to uncover bugs in special case process and seldom use logical paths. And the last testing which is involved into this is alpha and beta testing, which are the forms of black box testing that usually exercise the complete software in actual operating environments. Both and expert users can generate inputs and results that a designer and programmer would not anticipate. An alpha test allows the programmer to collaborate with and observe people using the software, whereas a beta test, in contrast, is performed by users isolated from the programmer. A necessary component of beta testing is recording and reporting the results consistently. All testing must measure and record progress, productivity, complexity, and the correctness. Then the last stage we are having, that is maintenance. Once you have tested, verified and released the software, you have to maintain it. As with testing, you cannot separate software maintenance from system concerns. Proper maintenance requires you to control the software configuration. It will include the reports, measurements, personnel, costs and documentation. You should also have a plan for releasing the software upgrades. The aim is to achieve consistency and continuity in your project. We need to understand a standard form of bugs report over here and a plan for corrective actions. Each bug report should include some elements like bug number, what is the bug description, severity, date, target device configuration, person responsible for fixing the bug, and last, that is current status. Each report should become an entry in a database. Beyond the initial reports, a test lab simulator or prototype of your product will help replicate failures, isolate problems, and correct errors more likely. So this is about the waterfall model of software development. Now the next model which we are having is prototyping model for the software development. Prototyping the software accommodates the problem of changing requirements and makes a subset of the software available early. The essence of prototyping is quickly designed model that can undergo immediate evaluation. Like we can see here, a prototype may take one of the three forms: a paper model or computer-based simulation, a program with a subset of functions, or the last, an existing program with other features that will be modified for your new product. Here we can see the first stage, that is concept, the next is prototype, then evaluation by the customer. If it is not satisfied, then again redesigning phase will be introduced, and after that again prototyping will be prepared, again evaluation by the customer, then the complete design once the customer will be satisfied, and after that we are getting a final program over here. Its biggest weakness are that thorough testing and documentation are easily forgotten. The designer tends to rush the product to the market without considering the long-term reliability, maintenance, or configuration control. Another problem is creeping featureism. The customer voices a new desires after each evaluation and the project effort balloons. So, one more model we are having for the software development life cycle, the spiral model. It presents an incremental approach to development that provides a combination of classic waterfall model and prototyping model. So, this is the combination of the previous models, that is spiral model over here. Each cycle, here we can see each cycle around the development spiral provides a successive, more complete version of the software. The model allows flexibility to manage requirements and control the changes. So here we can see starting from the planning in the this quadrant, planning, then risk analysis we are having, design we are having, evaluation, and again. So this is the third and important and a combination of the first two models, that is spiral model. Now moving towards the software bugs. Software bug, it is an error, flaw or fault in a computer program or a system that causes it to produce an incorrect or unexpected result or to behave unintended ways. Now we can see the bugs can enter software in any of four stages. The first stage is intent, second that is translation, execution and operation. The phases of bugs are introduced here. The first, that is intent. Basically, the severity of the problems that bugs present is usually related to how early the bugs are introduced. Errors in developing the requirements are almost always more costly and difficult to diagnose than those introduced later in the process. Errors or bugs in translation tends to be less severe. The second stage, that is translation stage, they are less severe but can still produce some baffling problems. Actual operation can introduce errors also. The dynamics of interacting or multitasking modules can cause serious problems. Here, some types are given for the two categories. The first category, that is intent. Here it is given, that is first type we can see, that is the wrong assumption or misunderstanding. Actually, what it explains that is insufficient grasp of the problem. The second, that is problem definition, correctly solving the wrong problem. That is the main thing. Then we are having the third one, that is sizing, that is limits on operation too broadly or too narrowly defined. And the malice, that is viruses. In the second stage, that is translation, we can see the types of errors over here or bugs when they get entered into the software, that is incorrect algorithm due to incorrect analysis and misinterpretation. The third stage, execution. Basically, the bugs or defects are integral to and created by the process of software development. They usually start early in the design, and the number of occurrences is inversely proportional to the experience of the software developer. Bugs and complexity go hand in hand. Real-time applications, multiple communications, new tools and processes, and the involvement of many disciplines in product development all help to increase the bugs in the software. While testing is necessary, a single method of testing alone, it is not good enough. The cheapest and easiest errors are found first. Finally, if you find more bugs than usual, then more bugs usually remain in the software only. So, in the third stage, that is in execution, we can find out semantic error, syntax error, logical error, for logic error, range error, we are having truncation error and data error. If you see for semantic errors, it is basically failure to understand how a command works. Then if you go for the second one, that is syntax error, failure to follow rules of language and failure to terminate statement or procedures. In the third one, that is logic error, wrong decision, branch to wrong label, omission of possible conditions, improper initialization or terminations of the loop. Similarly, for range error, failure to predict the possible calculations and incorrect approximations. Then misuse of language, coding operation inefficiently or incorrectly. And the last, in the third stage, that is documentation, wrong or mismatching comment. That is the error over here, or you can say a software bug. And the last stage where the software can enter, the bugs can enter into the software is operation. Here we can find out changing paradigm, system operating in an unanticipated environment. The second one is in interface error, which gives us an idea that is incorrect type or range of input or output. Then the performance, inadequate hardware resources or software timing. The error type, that is hardware failure, failure or incorrect functioning of subsystems. And the last, that is human error, possible compounding into multiple errors. Now again we can see some common types of software errors or bugs over here. The first is crash. A crash is a sudden failure of a software application or operating system or of a hardware device such as hard disk caused due to failure of handling the exceptions. The next type or next error is functional error. Here we can see functionality is a way the software is intended to behave. If the behavior of the software varies from the expected output, then it is said to be functional error. The function, we can see here one example, that is expected functionality for submit button is that changes or entry entered should be submitted and saved. But if the submit button is not clickable, then it is a functionality error here. The third one, that is acknowledgement and message error. This is an error caused when the user is acknowledged or given a feedback with wrong message or no message after doing an action. For example, failing to show messages while adding or editing the data. Missing command error. This error occurs when an expected command is missing. For example, if an user creates a new profile and there is no option for the user to exit from this window without creating the profile, then this is a missing command error since cancel or close option or button is not available to the user over here. The fifth one is grammatical error or typo error. Syntactic errors caused due to misplaced words or grammatically incorrect sentences. They are very evident while testing software GUI. The sixth one, that is error handling errors. Any errors that occur while the user is interacting with the software needs to be handled in a clear and meaningful manner. For example, the error message gives no indication of what the error actually is. Is it missing mandatory field, saving error, page loading error, or it is a system error? Hence, this is an error handling error. If the software has certain mandatory fields that need to be filled before they can save the information on a form, the validation messages should be clear and indicative of the action that is required by the user. Then the calculation errors, that is incorrect data type, incorrect logic, incorrect formula, or incorrect units. Control flow errors. The control flow of a software describes what it will be doing in the next stage, or what action or what condition. For example, consider a scenario whenever user has to fill a form and the options available to the user are save and next, and cancel. If a user clicks on save and next button, the user information in the form should be saved and the form should show next step. And the second last, that is hardware usage error. This error occurs due to the usage of wrong device unavailable, then misunderstood status or return code, or wrong operation or instruction codes. And the last, that is boundary related errors. This error is caused due to the boundaries in loops, space-time, memory. Then apart from these, if there is a hidden changes in an algorithm, it might also cause the boundary related errors. So these are the 10 software bugs. Thank you.